Okay, you're all set.
All right, great. Thanks, Caitlin. Welcome everyone to the April Food Policy Council Leadership Team meeting. Thanks everyone for being here this morning. Great to see you all virtually. I am going to share my screen quickly to walk us through our agenda for this morning. So we'll start with our welcome and introductions, public comment, approval of our our March meeting minutes, and then very grateful to have Pat McKernan with us this morning, Director of Health and Human Services, to follow up on some of the conversations we've been having about kind of resiliency planning and thinking about kind of food systems work and how it connects with some of the other some other related issues. So we'll jump into that discussion and then go through kind of the rest of our regular agenda working group updates and talking about the next June general membership meeting, and then see what other updates and discussions we have time for at the end. So that's what we have in store for this morning. I was trying to think of a good intro question for us this morning, and as I have mentioned, we are still in my house very in the midst of Frozen. That Frozen session is not waning at all, and so it got me thinking about like what were there. So the question I have for this morning is if there were movies or shows or things that as a kid that you were obsessed with. If you want to share any childhood things like that, I'll share for myself. I was when I was about my son's age, like 3.5, 4. I was obsessed with Fiddler on the Roof. That was the one that I watched over and over again, and would run around the house singing. Yeah, a blessing on your head, Mazel Tov. Anyways, um, all right. So let's see. Bree, can I pick on you to go next?
Yes, that just cracks me up. That's amazing. I was obsessed with this. Okay, it sounds pretentious, but this short French film called White Mane, because I was a horse kid, and I don't know how we found it at the video store because I'm old, but we would watch, my sister and I would watch this movie about a boy who befriends a white horse on an island, and I would watch White Mane over and over again. My mom tried to buy it from the video store, but they wouldn't sell it to her because we kept renting it.
That's funny.
I'm gonna give it to
Hey, sorry, Bree, before you pass, I forgot to
Mm.
mention, because we have Pat and Tim also here with
Oh,
us.
can I introduce myself?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Nice job, Sam. Hi, I like White Mane, and my name is Bree Berry, and I'm an assistant professor of environment and sustainability at Ursinus College. Nice to see you, Pat. Thanks for coming. Rachel, can I give it to you next?
Yes, you may. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm a small farmer. I'm starting some seeds right now for the first half of this call, so that's why I'm in this weird garage. Um, and I also run our land access program in Gilbertsville, which leases land to small and beginning farmers. And I think I remember being obsessed with Pocahontas and also like similarly just had it on repeat. My parents were so sick of that, so. Yeah. Vernon, you want to go next?
Okay, good morning. Vernon Ross, and I am the pastor and founder of Bethel Community Church of Pottstown, and I serve as the president of the Pottstown Communities of Faith. And in my younger years, I was very obsessed with the movie The Wizard of Oz and wanted to watch it every day. So, and I'm still obsessed with that movie. So, thank you.
Let's see, Christy, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Christy Scott, and I'm with Montgomery County Office on Aging, and I supervise our intake unit. Um, I have a weird one. I do not like horror films, but for some reason as a kid, I loved Poltergeist, which I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty scary, but Yeah, I don't like
Was
horror
then.
films though. I will. Do you want me to popcorn it over to Timothy?
Unmuting, there we go. I apologize. I assume I'm the only Timothy on this call, correct? I'm sorry. I was just sending Davey a message about how this is part of my history, but not the history I was thinking about with the animals, but the Maryland white oaks tree that came down several years ago. It was over 400 years old, and I'd heard so many stories about it. I was hoping to see it one day, but then storms came through and knocked it down. So it was sad, and it kind of resonates into another sad. This is more of my childhood, the childhood memory about the movie Bambi. Loved it. Loved the character Thumper. I had a stuffed animal Thumper that I'd always carry around, carry around. Loved it, loved it. But then one day, I chucked Thumper on a car ride. This is when I'm super young, maybe like 5 or 6, and I had nightmares for a long time about it. Chucked him from a car. So my parents had to stop, turn around, go through this really kind of seedy neighborhood to find Thumper along the side of a road. So yeah, that was a bit of my childhood, and probably a lot of information, probably TMI at some point, but it's a resonating memory. I don't know who is out there. Did Carla go?
Good morning, everyone. I'm trying to get my camera working. Haven't had much success with it the past 2 days. But my name is Carla Clanigan. I am the Deputy Chief Operating Officer of Programs for Share Food Program. And let's see, I don't think I actually had a movie that was like a favorite. I had a lot of cartoons. I'm pretty old, back when cartoons were super popular. But if I was to select a movie, I would say Wizard of Oz is one that I would watch anytime that it came on. Um, I don't, I guess when we were, I don't, we didn't, there weren't VCRs or anything back then. So you watch it when it came on one of the 5 channels. So that's what I would say. I can popcorn it over to. Not sure who hasn't gone yet. Kate, did Caitlin go or Pat?
I think Caitlin often just sets the live stream for us and then
Oh, she
and then
steps
walks away.
away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Pat, if you want to go.
Sure. I'm probably the same age as Carla because I agree we didn't watch things on VCRs that back then, but so whatever came on TV. But I do love a musical. So Sam, you kind of qualified it. I'm the director here for Montgomery County's Health and Human Services, as Sam said. So I would probably say obsessed was probably Greece when I was a kid. So that was where everybody took, you went to for your birthday party, everybody went to Greece, we all dressed it was a thing back then. So just kind of put that out there. But as far as a movie that it's probably the only thing that I know all the words to. I will say that's probably qualified. That or My Fair Lady. I think that's still, I will watch that anytime it comes on. So, but yeah, so musicals were, right, Carla? Are you with
Yeah,
me?
I'm with you. Those
Yeah.
two are good. I
Yeah.
still know the words to Grease, and if it comes on, I'm still watching it, Pat.
Me too. Me too. So yeah. Shannon, I don't think you went.
Hi, I'm Shannon Isaacs. I'm the executive director of Montgomery Anti-Hunger Network. We're a coalition of 77 emergency food providers in Montgomery County. Um, this brought me back to my childhood, which was so very strict limitations on screen time. And sadly, my first thought was Nova because I wasn't allowed to watch hardly anything. But then I remembered I loved Arthur when I was a little kid. It was just one of my very favorite shows, and just a great show. And I will pass to Devi.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Davy Ramkasoon. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer here in Montgomery County. I was a super bookish kid. I just always had my head buried in a book, and most often it was a Nancy Drew book. I thought I was Nancy Drew. I pretended I was a detective every moment of my childhood and went around creating mysteries when none existed. And that was just my absolute obsession. So here we are.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone for sharing. That was fun, and appreciate everyone's again everyone sharing a bit. Um, all right. I'm going to share my screen again with our agenda so we can jump back in. It looks like we don't have any members of the public here. Tim is, not part of the leadership team, but we met at the Sustainability Marketplace event the other day. Tim works in the Planning Commission. I don't know if you wanted to say anything more, Tim, about your interest in joining the leadership team, or in attending the meeting.
Oh yeah.
During our
Am
public
I
comment.
still? I'm sorry. Am I muted again?
No, we're good. We can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Yeah. I'm with the Planning Commission. I've only been with the Planning Commission for 7 months. I did meet Sam yesterday, and it was really a great time. Being at, I'm sorry, yesterday. Wednesday at the Sustainability Marketplace. It was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. Kudos to all of you and Davey for putting that on. It was awesome. We had a good time. Survived the rain, so yeah, it felt like a true Earth Day. And I'm a planner, environmental planner. Come from a background of environmental planning as my job out of college. Um, First, before that, I was a technician on a bunch of construction sites. But then got my big boy job as an environmental planner. Started planning or doing a lot of NEPA documentation for federal highway projects. Um, so anytime a federal highway project went through the state of Delaware, I was on the team to look for turtles, look for wetlands, do a lot of mapping, basically get all the resources on a map so they could draw the lines for the highways. Then I became a municipal planner in Delaware, and did that for almost 19 years. So I have a little bit of background in um, site resources, infrastructure, uh, municipal planning with economic development, a lot of growth happening around here, houses, commercial, industrial, big industrial complex of pharmaceuticals. So we had to provide a lot of infrastructure and asset management for making sure that we had the capable, suitable resources available for this major project, as well as all the other growth that was happening. Now, as part of the Montgomery County Planning Commission, I'm involved with 247s, 537s, plan reviews, and taking my environmentalism to the next level. So here I am. Oh, and I have a lot of um, food stuff, as I mentioned in my email to Sam. I helped, well, going back way back when I was just a young boy, I was working at McDonald's and saw that end of it. But then later on, I got more involved with like soup kitchens, help facilitate my own nonprofits. And now I'm just kind of touch and go. And that's where I seem to be the most value to organizations, entities. So the leader facilitating, I know I'm not a leader here, and probably don't want to help. Oh, I want to help you, but I don't want to be a lead. I would like to be a resource. So definitely touch base with me, and I will be willing to provide you my support.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for joining, Tim. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to approving our March meeting minutes. Going to share them quickly here. Just as a quick reminder, last month we had some graduate students from Arcadia University attending, and spent a good part of our meeting on discussion of the concerns that they had raised. And then had our updates and debrief from the general membership meeting, yeah, and then most of the other things towards the bottom here we end up tabling. So any questions or comments on our March meeting minutes? All right, not seeing any. Let's take a vote. All those in favor of approving the March meeting minutes, we can do a show of hands. All right, got 3 virtual, 1, 2, 3. Okay,
I
great. All right, thanks everyone. I think that was unanimous. So now we can move on to our discussion about resiliency planning. So again, thank you, Pat, for joining us this morning. This is something that has come up in our last few leadership team meetings. As we're looking at cuts to SNAP and cuts to kind of safety net programs, and seeing similar cuts or other impacts across housing and other kind of social safety net programs. Just wondering kind of how we can think about and plan for future disruptions, and ensuring that we can be thinking about not just food security and the impacts there, but how that relates to housing insecurity or education, or these other kind of intersectional issues. So yeah, with that, I guess I'll turn it over to you. Oh, sorry, I think you're on mute still.
I don't want to disappoint anyone. I'm not coming here with big solutions to all of this, to all of these big problems that we're just discussing. First of all, I was hoping to really come and listen. I want to thank, I don't know, Sam, if you shared, and if you didn't, I had asked Sam for sort of a detailed view of the sort of ecosystem that the Food Policy Council oversees, and how the county is involved, and who are all of the players. And I was super impressed, frankly, just with the way it was presented, because it was, for me, outside of, as an outsider to this infrastructure that you guys have created, it was really helpful for me to understand the magnitude with which the charitable food system and how it operates, where the food sources are, where they come from, who are the food distributors, who are the food recipients, and how does the system work. I have had the opportunity to visit a few of the locations. Certainly, I was at Share when we had the ribbon cutting, and I've met with Mark and Carla since. I've been to Pottstown Cluster. I got to see Open Link, and I visited a number of our providers of home delivered meals for our seniors. So Christy, it's nice to see aging represented on here. And I did hear your name, that you were, because I was asking, how is aging involved in the Food Policy Council? Because all of these things are interconnected. The amount of seniors the Montgomery County's home delivered meals, unrelated to sort of the food pantries, or adjacent, I would suppose, related to that, serving over 1,300 seniors that are not Medicaid eligible, but are receiving home delivered meals in their home, whether with a visit or not. This is a longstanding program, Meals on Wheels, people typically refer to that. And so looking at how do we sustain that really important service. It is not just supporting food insecurity, but it in fact is providing connection with seniors, a visit with a trusted provider to ensure that they are safe, so that these things are all interconnected. I say that, like, this is the Montgomery County. If you're unfamiliar with how the Department of Health and Human Services is constructed, dissimilar probably from other counties, and maybe some of the counties that you serve, Health and Human Services in Montgomery County does incorporate 9 different offices. So public health, the Office of Public Health, where Sam resides, the Office of Aging Services, where Christy resides, the Office of Housing and Community Development. It tends to shelter in housing instability, but also in the building of affordable housing, or partnering to build affordable housing. Our Office of Children and Youth, we're mostly known for Child Protective Services, as well as our Office of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Early Intervention, as well as the Office of Drug and Alcohol, and our Office of Veteran Services. We do run an early learning resource center here in Montgomery County under the auspices of HHS. There's all of the services, all of the people that we serve throughout the county a safety net is needed. People are coming to us for services, whether willing or unwilling, right? So child protective services. We are always looking at how do we help people stay safely in their homes. And the cost of living, the cost of housing, the rent burden that people are experiencing, we are all concerned about that. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have the I don't have a prediction of what the impact of some of these cuts will be, but we are looking at how do we as efficiently work together. As recently as a few weeks ago, maybe that was last week, Carlo, when I met with you and Mark, and to have conversations about how could we leverage the ecosystem that has been created under the, with the food pantry system to help our partners who are providing Meals for Wheels, right? Is there a way of leveraging that infrastructure to create, some economy of scale? So frankly, like in related to resiliency, I am looking for efficiencies so that we can help maintain people in their own homes safely and effectively. I'm going to borrow a phrase from Pam Howard, who is our administrator of our Office of Mental Health. Every year without an increase is a decrease. And we've been experiencing that in some offices for a very, very long period of time. And there's certainly the acuity of need grows. So we are all concerned, and we are really looking, to listen to community partners to see what you're seeing on the front lines and how do you think that we can work collectively together. There is not an unlimited number of dollars for any program, and we are trying to be actively looking for dollars to support our partners. I know that I don't, one of the partners, or one of the part of your ecosystem I don't see here, Carla, we spent some time talking about this, but, helping them identify where there could be funding opportunities to take care of some infrastructure needs. So as we see opportunities, I personally am trying to push those out to folks to make sure that they're in their hands and looking at them. But it is something that I would really like to hear what some of the pain points are. Everywhere I've talked and everywhere I've visited, people are talking about an increased need. Also, Aclamo, I should have mentioned, I was at Aclamo a few weeks ago, both in their Norristown and Pottstown. So I know that they provide the food pantry to probably 250 families. Every food distribution that they do. I apologize, I can't remember if that was weekly or biweekly that they're doing it. But I recognize that the work that you're all doing, providing food to the food insecure, is helping families every single day. So Sam, hopefully in thinking about resiliency planning, you weren't expecting that it came with answers. I am coming with where we currently are and what we're watching. But it is incredibly helpful to have your feedback and creative suggestions about what can be done. So I am here to listen.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Pat. Really appreciate you giving that overview about, kind of everything that's under HHS's purview and ways that you're looking at, as you're mentioning, kind of trying to increase efficiency and opportunities to work with partners and, find creative funding or other kind of partnership opportunities. So, yeah, just wanted to see if anyone had questions that they wanted to ask, or, as Pat mentioned, if people have pain points or other kind of suggestions that they want to share, just kind of wanted to open up the floor. Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
I would say, we were very grateful. I think the emergency food space was very grateful to the county for the interventions during the SNAP crisis. I think it made a huge difference. But in terms of pain points, I would say there are sort of three different pieces. One is sort of the systematic weakening and reduction of food resources that come from governmental sources. And we see this through the cuts through TFAP, the cuts through the local food source program, and sort of several other pieces. Just essentially the amount of food that's being provided to pantries has been reduced. We've seen spikes because the community has shown up, but sort of that needing for that consistency of access to governmental food, because so much of the food comes from governmental sources. Virtually all, except for Montgomery County, almost all of the sources have been impacted or reduced or somehow changed. So I think that's a challenge. The other challenge is that Montgomery County is somewhat unique in terms of our increases in food insecurity nationally. We're about double, the percentage changes here are about double what they are in Philadelphia, and we're about also double about sort of what the national average is. So most of the people experiencing food insecurity today in the United States actually live in suburban areas like Montgomery County. And I think we can see that in sort of these jumps we see every year between, 10 to 50% over the last few years in terms of numbers of pantry visits. And then, of course, the sort of the instability of the federal landscape are sort of combined to really create these challenges in a system that was designed to really serve closer to 400 or 500,000 people. Our estimate is that probably we're serving 100 to 120,000 people. Um, so I think that's one of those challenges, and the more the county is really vocal about the issues, makes a huge difference. And I just think any support for food resources directly just makes a huge difference. Um,
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. And I think, granted that this the county support for the food pantry or the food system really for when SNAP was suspended, I think was pretty remarkable and a real testament to the commitment of the county commissioners to making sure that people don't go hungry. To the extent that they were able to provide support, they did, and I think that that was really incredibly a powerful statement. But you're right, and so I'm taking copious notes. But thank you. Any information related to data on the percentage of people estimated to be food insecure would be helpful. Any written reports? I have read everything that Sam's provided me, but anything that can be included because we want to make sure that as part of the county's health improvement plan that we're reflecting the needs that people are seeing. So.
Sure. And we know the way we sort of look at our numbers is the Feeding America numbers from I want to say 2023 are 85,000 people experiencing food insecurity in Montgomery County. So in order to be counted in that number, if your needs are met by SNAP and if your needs are met by food pantries, you wouldn't be counted in that number. So that's not how many people visiting, that's how many people whose needs aren't being met. We know since then that there's been at least a 20 to 30% increase in pantry visits since then. We also know that only, according to Feeding America, only half of the people who are experiencing food insecurity even qualify for SNAP. So if there's about 60,000 people on SNAP in Montgomery County, we can sort of back up to it's about 100 to 120. And that's the number we see because we're the backbone agency. So we're the place where all the emergency food providers come together. And I think it's an opportunity that we've been wonderful to partner with the county in terms of a space to connect with the whole system of Montgomery County. That's what we've seen, but I think also Garden of Health, which is the only other agency that serves the full county. That was the estimate that they came up with as well.
So 65,000 on SNAP, and you're estimating that the food insecure is double that. Not
Yeah,
right.
I think it's a safe guess, especially when you look at pantry visits and you look at the Feeding America numbers from 2024.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have questions, ideas, suggestions?
Shannon, real quickly, I have another question. The seniors that are being supported through home delivered meals, are they are they part of that estimate? How are they accounted for?
They are counted in if they're not if their needs aren't being met by home delivered meals, they would be counted in that number. Or I think that would be somewhat reflected if they were visiting food pantries. But if their full needs were being met through the meal delivery programs, then I
Yeah.
don't think they're counted in that number.
The okay, it's just a thought because and then the numbers of seniors that are getting congregate meals in senior center. So we're trying to get that number as well. So Christy, you don't have that number, do you?
No, but I was going to say, even in my enrollment unit, since I supervise our intake unit, what we're seeing more of is calls coming in of people who just can't afford food, seniors who can't afford food. And unfortunately, that alone doesn't make people eligible for the meals, at least for the meal subsidy. They have to be homeless, not homeless, homebound or living alone. I always say, certainly, if we have seniors who maybe just drive to the doctor because they, that's the only way they could get there, or, maybe drive to pick up their prescriptions. But other than that, maybe shouldn't be driving or whatever. We do take that into consideration. But we've definitely seen an uptick of more seniors calling in, looking for Meals on Wheels to be an answer to, being able to afford food, or to, get, just have food, or lower their budget and food, that kind of thing.
I want to comment on that, but also I don't know that we have a handle on how many seniors are getting home delivered meals through Medicaid as well. So that is a question that I'd like to have answered as well. So do we know that, Christy?
No, and it's interesting you brought that up, because I was going to say that we had someone at our last food policy meeting that brought up, I think she comes from Liberty, right, Sam? Liberty Resources. She was commenting on how a lot of the disabled community, those being under 60, are being cut off of Medicaid meals. So typically they get like Mom's Meals, which is another provider. She was commenting that a lot of people are getting cut off of that because they're justifying it by saying there's an aide in the home that can make the meals. That's not.
I don't think that that's the request. So that's curious, right? So I'd
Yeah,
like to know more
yeah,
about that. If there was, I would actually
yeah.
do the
So
research.
she brought that up, and I commented, like, kind of thanked her for bringing that up, because that is another thing that we are also getting, is we will have seniors that call and say they need Meals on Wheels, but we find out they're open under Medicaid, under the waiver program, and that is who should be paying for those meals, and they're being cut off, probably for the same reason as she was saying. They're justifying it, saying there's an aide there that can make you a meal. But that's not always the case, especially if an aide doesn't show up, or if they're without services for a week, or whatever the case may be. So,
Yeah,
it's
that's
definitely
hopeful.
an issue.
Well, yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah.
I can follow up on that. Just so that we have sort of perspective of the landscape in Office of Aging Services, the home delivered meal program is about $3 million, and part of that is covered under the aging block grant, but not all of it. And the county has continued to support funding those services. And however, the state, we are losing likely another over $1 million in Aging Well, the block grant dollars to our aging services office. And we're fearful of what the impact could be. I talked with someone from Dauphin County and asked how they're managing, how are they preparing? And other counties are not, they're stopping enrollment for people in those programs, seniors from home delivered meals, which is really a very difficult choice, I'm sure, for them. It's not a choice that Montgomery County wants to be making. So we have certainly not stopped enrollment, but we are monitoring all provider services to make sure that we're staying within a budget, and preparing county leadership, because we are, anticipating that those costs, as all food costs have gone up, that those costs are likely to go up. But this is providing a safety net for seniors who are, as Christy said, who are shut in, who are not able to safely, transport typically, who might be frail or medically fragile, and who are not eligible for Medicaid. So this is all of this is part of the infrastructure that helps people who are food insecure, for sure. Thank you for that.
Thanks for mentioning that, Pat. I wasn't aware of it. That's a difficult situation that I don't know if we're in or is coming up, but it's helpful to know about we're in. Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, yeah, one thing I don't know if I'd mentioned it in the previous leadership team meeting, but I've been working with one of my colleagues, Mary Craighead, who's a GIS data analyst, to put together kind of like a food security data dashboard. So we can, this kind of started from a conversation with Mon, with some of the quarterly like pantry visit numbers. And then we're like, well, if we have other data sources that we can pull in too, looking at SNAP enrollment and WIC enrollment, and as we were just talking about, kind of like numbers of home delivered meals and congregate meals, and there are a number of these different kind of data sources that we are trying to figure out kind of how to pull them all together and put them up online somewhere so that there's more information that's accessible, and that can be updated, to give us a real-time picture of what things look like. So yeah, not totally clear on the timeline for that yet. There's, it's we're kind of still in the early stages of the project, but it's certainly something I can keep this group updated on, and certainly share kind of a draft when we have something to share, and would welcome feedback on. But that's one way in which we're trying to help get a just paint a clearer picture of what's happening.
When I was trying to build the soup kitchen that is my baby, ultimately numbers are huge. Numbers are like everybody wants them. When we were going to Bank of America or Wells Fargo for grant money, funding, they want to see everything. You have to be as transparent as possible. The Longwood Foundation, the DuPonts, they all wanted so much. They wanted interviews, they wanted hands-on. They'd invite you to all these glorious things to do the ribbon cuttings and the dog and pony shows. It was all fascinating, very laborious and very time consuming, because not all the time you'd get the grant funding. So partnering or finding grant writers, they seem to be magicians. Had a great, awesome grant writer. She was fabulous. She did a miraculous job. We raised like over $100,000 just for our little soup kitchen. So I know how critical those numbers are. I know development block grant, CDBG, always filing my applications when the soup kitchen was in a church, just reporting numbers, showing distributions, flow. Taxing, that was actually easy compared to what the private sector wanted. To make a long story short, yeah, to basically run and get this information. I was, before working for Montgomery County, I was applying for a job, to do a 30-hour a week job for Meals on Wheels. I did Meals on Wheels for 15 years. Fabulous. I love them. I love that program. It's miraculous. It's heartbreaking because you see so many um, shut-ins. I hate using that word. That word is awful, but sadly, folks can't get out. They are shut in. They're trapped, and they don't have transportation, or can't use transportation because they're disabled. They might have some terminal illness that basically is keeping them down. It's just really sad and unfortunate. But to make a long story short and try to get my point across, the modern thing I'm noticing is people love these apps. They love ordering food on, DoorDash and such like that. If there could be like a service that takes away a lot of these institutional places' efforts to distribute, but to maybe put an app out there for 30 cents a meal or something like that, that really takes it down. I think that might be able to help with identifying and getting the numbers that you might need without the laborious efforts of gathering data, putting together all this. You might be able to have some sort of logarithm managing the tracking. I don't know how the technology works with that end, but if I were in a startup role, I guarantee if I were in a startup role again, I would definitely have something to today's standards that managed distribution, tracking, and data dumping using my little AI components as well. Can't disregard them. They seem to know so much. Um, that's where I would be, and that's how I would get the numbers. Whomever, the Bank of America, Wells Fargo's, yada, DuPont's, and the world that wants to feed the world, because there's so much food out there. There's a ton of food. Grocery stores unload. You wouldn't believe how much food on a regular basis. So, and a lot of it goes into the dumpsters. So sad. But that's my soapbox moment.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely people kind of in that space that you're talking about, right? Like trying to use tech and trying to figure out ways to innovate the kind of food distribution. Food Connect is the first one that comes to mind. Not specifically for the like Meals on Wheels, meal delivery type programs, but for more of the food rescue that you were talking about, right? Like getting that food that would be wasted from grocery stores. I think, yeah, there's a lot of a lot of work that's happening there, recognizing like there's just what you were saying, there's potential to utilize, to leverage technology to try and improve some of those systems. I think it looks like Carla just dropped off maybe, but Share has had a program, a partnership with DoorDash to use for their senior food box program, to have the DoorDashers deliver those directly to seniors' doors. So there's some work that's happening along the lines of what you're describing, but certainly more opportunities to can continue there as well. All right. Anyone else have any other questions or comments before we move on in our agenda here? Yeah, Shannon, go ahead.
I know the county previously supported food pantries and a bunch of food security organizations through the CBDG grant and through ESFP. And I think ESFP is probably federal and gone, but I wasn't sure if CDBG is an option for food security this year, or if that the move away from food insecurity is going to be permanent on that program.
I can't answer that. I'm not sure. That predated me, those decisions that were made, so I can look into it though. I don't believe that there are dollars to do that. But I will look into it.
Thanks.
All right. Well, Pat, thanks again for taking the time to join us this morning. Really appreciate it. And again, you kind of sharing your your vantage point on these things. You are welcome to stay if you'd like to listen for the rest of our agenda, but also I know you have many things to do. So
If it's okay, I would, but I am going to go off camera because I have to finish one thing. So I am listening. If that's okay, I'm going to just go off camera and continue to listen.
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you all. It was nice seeing you all.
All right. So next in our agenda, we are going to do our working group updates. So I will share quickly a update from the Network Development Working Group. I guess, yeah, three updates from Network Development. One, we have our resource guide. In our last meeting, we looked at kind of some of the analytics around it. I can't remember exactly. I have to try and go back and find my notes, but I think there were like 190 or 200 people that had visited the resource guide, which we didn't have kind of I guess we didn't have specific goals in place, for what we were expecting or hoping viewership, I guess, of the resource guide would be. But I was very happily surprised by the amount of engagement that the resource guide has seen. So I think that's that was very encouraging. We did also just get some like postcards printed, just with a QR code and some information about the resource guide. So if anyone, if you have events coming up, or if at your pantry or other location, if you want a stack of postcards to direct people to the resource guide, let me know, and be happy to coordinate getting those to you. But yeah, that seems like that overall is going well. We have our Lunch and Learn, our first Lunch and Learn series. That's kind of the next project from the Network Development Working Group. That is this afternoon at in just about an hour, I guess. And we've had, I think we were at like 19 people registered for that. So it was also happily, I was also very happy with the registration. We'll see how many people show up, but it seems like there'll be some good engagement, and so we'll see how that conversation goes. Um, and the last thing, just wanted to give a shout out to our network development members who kind of like provided the encouragement and then volunteer manpower to set up a table at the sustainability marketplace yesterday. I was would have not thought about setting up a table there, but in the last meeting, the working group was like, no, we should do it. This would be great. And yeah, and then Rachel and Anne and Jahan and Naomi all took a shift, and we only got a few folks to sign up to our email list, but it sounds like there was a lot of good conversation. So um, yeah, that's I don't know, Rachel, anything else you would add about either the event on Wednesday or network development working group stuff in general?
No, just I'm excited about the conversation. I don't know if anyone here's signed up to join our, hi Tim, although also is signed up to join the Lunch and Learn, but it's gonna be like really informal and I think just like a different format for everything else that the Food Policy Council is putting together. So I'm excited to see how it kind of fills in a different gap or just provides a different channel for folks. So
Great. Anyone have questions about network development working group? All right. Oh, yeah, Bree, go ahead.
No, I was just unmuting,
Okay,
just for
cool.
fun.
Thanks. All right, so then we'll go to the food security working group. Our last meeting, we kind of confirmed the timeline where we are looking to start this awareness campaign in, I think September is our goal. That aligns with Hunger Action Month. So I think there's good, yeah, there will be some good opportunities for alignment there. It also just gives us a little bit more time to kind of get all the materials organized and together. And, with all the kind of America 250 stuff happening this summer, we won't kind of be in competition with any of that. So that's what we were thinking about for timing. Yeah, as I mentioned, now we're trying to build out like the content for the social media toolkit and some of those other materials so we can get those kind of in place. We did talk about the kind of to the the overall goal of the campaign is to increase awareness about food insecurity, and then we'll kind of have a number of different actions that we're encouraging people to take. One of them is donating money. It's not a fundraising campaign, right? That's not like that's not our overall goal. But we did have a conversation in the last meeting about like whether we should try and centralize that and create some kind of fund where we're encouraging people to donate to, or if it's more decentralized and we're saying like, here are, the list of pantries. You find a pantry in your neighborhood, in your community, and here's you can donate to them directly. So I think we are most likely going with that latter approach, more decentralized. So yeah, that was the update from the food security working group. I don't know. Let's see, Shannon, I think you were at the last meeting. I don't know if you have anything else you'd want to add about that conversation or that project.
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, I think it's exciting for it to be moving forward, and I think having folks have greater awareness of the issues of food insecurity and how large of a problem it is in the county is going to make a huge difference for pantries.
Great. Anyone have questions or comments about the food security working group and the educational campaign? Okay. Well, then we can go to the Farmer Development Working Group. So we have been making good progress on setting up the Farmer Mentorship Program, have kind of a lot more structure to what that will look like. Rachel and I just met the other day to kind of go through some of the it's really kind of like the final details of the program structure, setting up the kind of criteria for mentors and mentees, and reviewing kind of like the application questions, and thinking about the evaluation framework, how we're going to evaluate the success of the mentorship program. I think we're hoping to start it in just about a month. I think like end of May is what we were saying. So we're also kind of going over outreach plans, things like that. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think we're in good shape, and actually just got an email the other day from someone who was following up, asking, we had our event about 2 months ago at the end of February, and so they were following up and asking, there are any updates. So I think yeah, it seems like there will be some interest in the program. Yeah, I can't remember how much detail I went into last month in our last meeting. Happy to kind of give more of an overview if folks have questions about kind of the structure of the program. But if I did that last month, then don't want to repeat myself. So yeah, anyone have questions about the mentorship program? All right, great. Well, yeah, those are our working group updates. If there are no other questions or comments on any of them, then we can keep rolling along in our agenda to our general membership meeting planning. So we had some email conversation about this. Just want to kind of refresh people on that. We are looking for our next general membership meeting to be in June. Yeah, sorry, Bree, go ahead.
Sam, I was just thinking that we did meet with the policy working group. Maybe do you mind if I just share like what we were talking about there, just to get some initial feedback if folks have it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is that okay? Okay. I forgot that we existed briefly because it's so new. We're still babies, the policy group. But yeah, Nicole and Sam and I met sometime, oh, on the 17th. And we're talking about what we want to do for the policy working group, recognizing that we have lots of different folks involved in the food system here, and it might be hard to always advocate for policy because there might be competing, interests and, folks that might have different perspectives on different policy options. And so we are thinking about what our scope might be. And we landed on kind of two different things that we think that we might be able to do. The first is um, kind of pulling from different organizations who are following policy, as well as maybe our own peek into what's happening at the state and federal level, to do some kind of a policy tracker, just to say, like, this is kind of what's happening. And we could share it both on the resource guide and potentially in the newsletter, so that we can kind of keep people up to date on what's happening in the policy space and kind of give them the opportunity to get engaged if they want and in a way that they want. And then another thing that we're thinking of potentially down the line is looking at localized model policies. So looking at examples of really strong policies for sustainable and equitable food systems from within and beyond Montgomery County, so that local governments can think about how they might be able to adopt those. And so I think our most feasible task is to really start pulling this policy tracker together. But in the future, we do hope to think about this, what's happening at the local scale and how we could replicate successful policies. So curious to hear if you have thoughts on that, or what your response to that might be. But that's kind of where we landed on terms of what might be impactful and also feasible.
I love those ideas. I kind of want to join the committee now. But yeah, the policy tracker sounds incredible because despite studying food policy years ago, like I'll see an announcement and I'm like not really quite sure what that means. So sort of like a translation into layman's terms would be great.
Mm.
I was gonna share, I am like a very general member of NSAC, which is the National Sustainable Agricultural Coalition. I think one of their folks joined our general membership meeting a while ago, and I would love to send an email, an example of for you guys. Their emails are just incredibly well organized, and they just speak, they communicate in a way that is very easy to understand. And so I would love to share that if that's helpful.
Yeah, sorry, Rachel. I was vigorously nodding, forgetting that my camera's not working right now. But yes, that sounds great. And I think it like there's so much happening in terms of folks that are following food policy. So I don't think we're trying to replicate any work, but rather just like bring it together and, as you say, kind of translate it for our groups so that we can follow what's going on. And um, you're welcome to get involved as a worker bee. You don't have to lead anything, but if you want to get involved, anyone, you're welcome to join us. We're trying to make it so that it's not an enormous task, but something that we can just kind of like do on a monthly basis, just to keep tabs on what's happening. And Sam's doing this too informally. So like all these practices are here. We're just trying to pull it together neatly and put it into a place where we can all find it.
I think it'd be really exciting, and I love what you all are doing. Another thing that might be interesting is taking a quick look at sort of what, where have been the really big wins on food pol on at the county level nationally in terms of policies. I mean, there might be some really inspiring ideas that other folks have. Also, sort of smaller countries with GDPs similar to and poorer countries with GDP similar to that of Montgomery County, I think have some really exciting ideas about stuff because their national governments are sort of the same size as our county governments, and they're thinking much harder on food insecurity. So those could be exciting places to find sort of out of the box thinking.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Looking for wins is a good way of putting what we were talking about. And I think that we ended up opting for not like the county organizes us, right? But and the county has resources, but we ended up looking at like both state and local as a way of looking at like who's actually like making the food policy that impacts who can access food. And so we ended up thinking state, federal, and local because the county can kind of aggregate people, but it has less of a say in terms of like who has direct access to food in some ways. And so we ended up not trying to inform county policy as much as we are trying to learn what's happening at the state level and how we can respond to that, if that makes any sense. Just thinking about like where we have leverage. Anyway, just to explain that. I don't know if that was clear. I'll stop. Thanks, you all.
Yeah, thanks, Bree, for bringing it up and for the very succinct overview of our conversation. I'm glad we've got a few other ideas and helpers too. All right. So yeah, circling back to the general membership meeting planning. Again, thinking about that meeting sometime in June, and in terms of rotating throughout the county, I think we're looking at having it somewhere in like the Main Line, King of Prussia, Conshohocken area. So after our last meeting in Pottstown, that was the kind of collaboration with the collaborative out there, trying to think about another meeting that can also be collaborative in some way and not just like a meeting site. So yeah, the places, I had a few initial thoughts: the Jewish Family and Children's Services, Ardmore Victory Gardens, Lincoln Hospital, and Back to Earth Compost. I'm just kind of recapping some of the email exchange just to remind folks, because a few weeks ago, Anne said it might be a good opportunity to find an institutional setting like hospital, school, or cafeteria to focus on those kind of buyers and engagement. Davey mentioned liking the idea of partnering with a compost partner. And Vernon shared that he liked JFCS as an option. So yeah, just kind of wanted to circle back, see if anyone had further thoughts about this, or if we can try and land on at least the first place we can reach out to and see if they're amenable to partnering to host an event. I will say, just kind of before opening it up, that I did chat with Colleen from Back to Earth Compost at the sustainability marketplace the other day, and it sounds like she's looking at a kind of new site, a new location, but I don't think that will be finalized by within the next 2 months to be able to host a meeting. So that's probably not a viable option, but the other, I think all the other ones are. So anyone have thoughts about JFCS, Victory Gardens, Lankanaw, or any other potential partners and meeting locations for our June meeting?
Sam, I don't know. I'm just kind of coming new into this, but I will touch base with Anne to see how I can complement her, and I'll try to work with her as a tandem and see what role I can play in the planning process.
Sounds
Um,
great. Thanks, Tim.
I was just thinking, since June will be kind of sharing publicly about the farmer mentorship program, and it's a great time of year for farms are really shining. Is there I know that you didn't mention any of these things, but it's a new idea, but is there a farm that we could host at in June? Probably not in Conshohocken, but uh
Great.
yeah. Um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the Field family map now to look at farms in that area. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Maple Acres.
Oh,
Um,
mhm.
yeah, I don't have a great contact there, but I know this Steve and the Planning Commission does. I don't know about like indoor sites there. Like it'd be great to be outdoors if if the weather cooperates. But I feel like having an indoor option is important. But yeah, Pat, go ahead.
I was curious because I know I've met with virtually the Philadelphia Horticultural Society and their farm park. Have you guys met there before?
Yeah. Well, I've been there. It's a beautiful spot. Yeah.
They sound, I just, when you said space, that's what I thought. Sorry.
Yeah, and actually, Marta would probably be a great mentor as well.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
could,
Yeah, we did have I think it was in May of last year, we had our general membership meeting at the farm park. It was more again, it was kind of inside in some of the educational spaces there and not directly on the farm. But
Sam, the other place is where we had the holiday event for the count or for HHS. Was that the Autobahn?
Audubon, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice.
It is a really great space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thinking of keeping it more on um, what is that the southwestern, I don't know, that kind of corner, just uh, for geographic kind of accessibility, I guess. Because yeah, we haven't hosted a lot of things down there. So for anyone in that area, not always having to travel, but yeah, open to doing it at Audubon. That's like right down the street from where we've had a few events at Martha's Community Farm. That's right down the road there.
yeah. is Phoenixville or like Kimberton area considered kind of close by? I don't know, indoor spot though. All right, well, I'll think about it, I guess, too.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, one thing that Lankenau does have a farm on their hospital, on their campus there. So that might be, kind of to your point, Rachel, somewhere that's where we can be in a space where things are growing and talking about farming and things like that. And so that might be a good option because they would have indoor and outdoor space, right? Like they do educational programming out there at their farm. So I think they'd be set up to kind of host like a group outside, but we could also meet inside as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. And it would hit a lot of like, food access or just like food as medicine touch points. So yeah, that sounds great.
Juliana, I saw you said in the chat, I love that. Was that, I don't know if I missed it earlier, was that about hosting it at Lankenau
Yeah,
or
the
yeah,
hospital. Yeah.
okay. Um, all right, well, maybe we can start there. Can see if they're available and interested. And if not, then maybe we can come back to the drawing board. All right. Any other thoughts or questions about the general membership meeting? I think, we'll see probably, well, I don't know when in June would be good timing wise. Just thinking about like school schedules and things like that. But see what their availability is if they're interested in hosting. Yeah, and we'll go from there.
I feel like there's never a good time in June, so we just do the best we can and just acknowledge that like summer's tough.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like it might just be lower attendance for a June meeting because June is a tricky time. Yeah.
I think we've talked about like offering like a craft corner or something for kiddos. I don't know if that would be of interest, but sort of like if we're gonna have it in the early evening, if they want to bring like their little ones, not necessarily the childcare, but just, something to help keep kids busy. Like I would be up for helping with organize something like that.
That's such a good idea.
Okay, good.
Do you think it would really distract us all? Like I know when I bring my kid places, I'm like half there and half not there, but
I
it
mean,
would,
they're
yeah.
supposed to be kind of fun, right?
Well, I was just talking, I was at an event the other day with Munira Walker from Neighbors Helping Neighbors on the main line, and we were talking about they host like a big summer barbecue. I don't remember exactly when it is. And like there's no like programming, right? It's just like a community event. It's a space for people to come together and connect, like, not necessarily like professionally, but personally. So we could make it we could try and do something similar with this meeting that's like lighter on the program and the kind of content delivery and more of like bring your family, come hang out and play in the garden kind of thing. If that's if that's of interest.
Yeah, I think that like, tapping into the theme of summer, is a great idea. And we could come up with like fun ways. Obviously, like Ag Venture would be cool to promote there. And um, you know, we can actually maybe Ag Venture, we can like, I don't know, they could bring honey or something. They could check off a box or logo honey or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that would be fun to make it a little more engaging, connecting rather than programming.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely aligns with, as you're saying, with that adventure. I think one of the squares is visit a like community garden. So that would, but if you want to bring local honey too, like I'm not gonna I can object to that.
Sounds
Yeah.
like Longview's. I've never been there, but Collegeville, pick your own strawberries. I was like thinking strawberries. It's summer, so kids
Yeah.
love, parents and families love to pick strawberries and get out in the fields. Yeah, that I think that sounds fabulous.
I like the idea of just connecting too and having like recognizing that June pulls us in a lot of different directions and just getting together might be enough.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Well, yeah, I mean, again, it seems like it would align, like they do a lot of educational programming at the garden. So um, uh, it seems like that could potentially line up well. But I will reach out and see if we can get it scheduled, and then figure out what the other kind of fun tie-ins we'd want to have there would be. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for that conversation. Honestly, it just sounds like it'd be a fun event. So I'm hoping it will all work out. Uh, let's see, we've got about 15 minutes left. I think we're pretty good here. So gonna try and get through a few last things. In terms of other updates, we already talked about the policy committee. Thanks, Bree, for initiating that conversation. Rachel just mentioned Ag Venture, so we are getting ready to launch that again this year. Yeah, we made some updates to the bingo card, some tweaks to kind of how the program works a little bit, trying to make it easier for folks to participate. Just as a reminder, last year it seemed like we had a lot of people visiting the website and maybe seeing it, but not as many people participating. We only had like a handful of folks actually completing our bingo card. So yeah, we've been trying to get ahead of that outreach and promotion a bit, trying to tag on to a few events like the Sustainability Marketplace where we can help promote it. And doing a lot of outreach to try and kind of queue up people to help promote the program. So we have our postcards and bingo cards all printed or coming back from the printer very soon. So if anyone has any events coming up, or similar to the resource guide postcard, if you have places where you want to leave a stack of Ag Venture materials, let me know, and happy to help coordinate those.
I mean, maybe there's people that, you know, don't do it online, but I have my 2025 on my desk, and I was going to stop in Lansdale, get some ice cream after trail riding off of Spring Mountain, falling off Spring Mountain last weekend and hurting myself. But I also went to the tree planting up in Green Lane, but the injury stopped me from getting the ice cream, so I cannot check that off my list.
Oh man, what a bad injury. It's like a double whammy.
My ribs are still hurting, but
No.
not the worst. I was ridge lining along Chesapeake, and that took me 3 months out of commission. So I feel like I'm rebounding or getting better at it, taking crashes like a pro.
Got it.
Well, I was gonna say, I think if the whole Food Policy Council participated in Ag Venture and then told their friends about it, that alone would be a huge success. So I'm encouraging everyone to participate this year.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah. Anyone have questions about Ag Venture? We just confirmed the prizes that we're going to offer this year, which are a hat or a water bottle. So good incentives.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. All right, and then I had the Sustainability Marketplace on the agenda as well. I think we kind of mostly talked about that at this point. I don't know if there's much else that needs to be said. It was kind of the first event that we've done some like tabling for the Food Policy Council at. So yeah, I think we're probably good on that point. So then I guess I did want to mention I've had this on the agenda for the last few meetings and haven't had a chance to bring it up. And it's mostly just kind of like a for-your awareness. Just wanted to let folks on the leadership team know. There's been a cool project from the Pottstown Area Food Collaborative. This collaboration between Trellis for Tomorrow and the Pottstown cluster, where the cluster put out a survey for their, their guests, their clients as they were coming through to order at the pantry. It was a very short, like 5-question survey about like, would you be interested in growing your own food? What are some of the barriers that that you experience in trying to grow your own food? What kind of things like would be helpful? And I think maybe like what vegetables would you be most interested in growing? And they got close to 600 responses from this survey, which was incredible. And what was really interesting is there was like probably more than half, around half, said that they would be interested in either growing their own food or kind of in learning more about it. So that's like 300 people, and um, there were, I think, among the top barriers, like time was one of the biggest ones, which is, hard to do anything about. But some of the other ones, some of the other kind of like top barriers were lack of knowledge and lack of space. And those are ones that feel like, there's things we can do, right? Like we can offer some educational programming to teach people like some very basic kind of home gardening, and in terms of lack of space too, like container gardening or kind of small, like I don't know if it's windowsill or patio or whatever, like there's lots of creative ways to do kind of small scale home growing. And so yeah, I've been encouraged by the response to the survey, and then the kind of the programmatic ideas that are coming out of it. So Trellis and the cluster are talking about setting up some garden beds outside of the cluster. So then as folks are coming in, for their when there are those food distributions, that there can be some of that educational programming, kind of like meeting people where they are and offering those resources, that information. So yeah, I just wanted to mention it again so that folks are aware of it. If people have questions, like happy to connect with David or Patricia, who, yeah, I'm sure would be happy to talk more about it. But yeah, anyone have any immediate thoughts or questions about it?
No questions, but yeah, the fact that they got 600 folks even participating in the survey is really cool, and I'm happy to hear that they're just immediately taking action, and so I hope it goes well, and I look forward to seeing updates.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think they got like 100 or so responses within the first month, and we were all like, "Oh, that's great." And Patricia was like, "No, we're gonna keep this open for like at least another month. We're gonna get like so many more." And obviously, she was right. So, um, yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated. But it seems like a good kind of partnership and collaboration that like the council could be trying to highlight and encourage, and see if there are ways to replicate elsewhere. Just we know there are lots of other partners that do garden education, things like that. Obviously, there are lots of pantries that do food distribution. So it seems like something that is replicable and scalable potentially. We'll see how this like pilot goes.
Yeah, I know Carla isn't here, but I feel like she was talking about they were gonna build a farm at the new warehouse or something. Does anyone know if what the status of that was, or if that's still happening, or if I misunderstood?
Oh, I remember that too.
Yeah, I thought it was more of a like a hope to be able to do that. I haven't actually walked back there, but I think there's some space behind the warehouse. But yeah, I don't know if there's any update on that or not yet. Yeah. Okay, and then similarly, I think, yeah, I can mention this one too. I got an email from Susan Niger-Gold at Manna on Main saying that they had a partnership with I think it was a chicken farmer, and any like produce waste that that they had at Manna would go to this chicken farm. And I think she said that farmer has passed, and so now they like don't have. Basically, they were looking for another connection or outlet, something to do with with any of this waste that they end up having. I think I still need to follow up and see. I'm curious about the logistics of it. I feel like that may be where those kind of partnerships get difficult, right? Figuring out, well, who's going to pick it up and who's going to pay for the truck and the gas and the labor to do all of that. Um, but yeah, also just wanted to mention it in case anyone had any, kind of immediate ideas or thoughts, or if as you're going about your lives, if there are other opportunities that come up to, connect, yeah, I guess farms that would be willing to accept some of that food waste and, pantries that might be generating some of it.
I mean, I definitely know some chicken farmers, but yeah, so I guess keep me posted. And then of course, like, the composting facility seems like a good um option too. Like back to earth or something. Um, yeah, I'd be curious to know. I mean, I was gonna say even like I know a couple organic beef farmers too that like maybe the cows, but I think they require all organic, obviously. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, keep me in the loop. I would be curious to see if we can come up with something.
Great.
I
Yeah,
know
sounds good.
when we had chickens, we would have loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll follow up with Susan and see if she has more info about how it worked or what, I don't know, even kind of like the volume of
Yeah.
waste and kind of frequency and all of that.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, and if it's something that like, and I'm always thinking like the bigger picture, but if it's like there's some sort of, of all the pantries collecting their food waste with all the farms needing food scraps like that could be cool. So we can pilot something that'd be cool.
And I haven't really heard of it with chicken farmers before. I've usually heard people connecting with folks that have pigs.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know, like, for a while at least, Kimberton Whole Foods in Collegeville was sending some of their excess, or I don't know if it was spoiled stuff. I can't remember what it was, but they were sending it to a pig farmer. I don't know if they're still doing that or not, because that was a couple of years ago now. But there are people that are doing this. It'd be really interesting to know actually who's doing what with their waste and how we could aggregate better.
Yeah. Yeah, chickens love scraps.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. Good job, chickens.
And like, it has a bigger impact, right? Because less farmer has to buy less feed then. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The logistics really matter, like who's picking up and when and how often and who stores the smelly stuff.
Yeah. Now, since we were just talking about a potential farm at the Share warehouse, I'm like, well, if Share is already has trucks that are going to pantries to deliver stuff, maybe they also pick stuff up, like scraps up and bring it back and they could compost it in the back of their facility there.
Yeah.
It's always good to assign work to people that aren't here.
Yes, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
I think Carla would say yes.
right, right. Um, all right. Well, yeah, just kind of again wanted to mention that, have it on folks' radars. I'll follow up with Susan and see if we can get a little bit more info and kind of keep it in the back burner. Okay, we have 2 minutes left here, so want to wrap up a few announcements. Yeah, just two things to share, and then I want to see if anyone else has anything to share before we close. So thanks for folks who responded to the doodle poll or the when to meet poll about scheduling our leadership team retreat. Just making sure that folks saw the email. We're going to do that on Friday, May 8th. Have some good topics on our agenda. I'll, working to kind of finalize those now, but I'll be sure to send that out probably next week, so you have the chance to look over it ahead of time. But yeah, looking forward to that. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, something I've been working on recently is an RFP for food resource distribution. This is a contract that the county, it's essentially to manage the state food purchase program and TFAP, the Emergency Food Assistance Program. Yeah, current contract is expiring in September, so we'll be issuing a new RFP hopefully in the next within the next month, maybe sooner than that. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. That will be coming out soon. Yeah, those are all the announcements that I have. Anyone have anything that they wanted to share before we wrap up? All right. Well, then I think we can adjourn right on time at 11:30. Thanks everyone for your time and participation this morning, and hope you all have a great weekend.
Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Good to see you
Thank
all.
you.
Bye, everyone.